Hello everyone and welcome to a new video on the channel. Today we're doing something extremely exciting, and that is looking at my 2026 reading journal lineup. I have my main reading journal here. This is the 𝓚 Olive Antique Florals in B5. This is where I'll be spending the majority of the year, but I also have several other journals that we're going to be looking at today. So let's introduce them really quick. The next journal I have is a continuation. This is my Raven and Books 𝓚 Olive 8x8 square journal, and this is the reading data journal that I started in 2025 and will be continuing in 2026 and hopefully getting 2027 in here as well. And then we've got another journal I started in 2025. This is essentially a decorative quotes book. I called it Books I Loved, and essentially I just spent some time in here doing my 5-star and 4.5-star reads, their own little page. I don't do reviews because I find that repetitive since I do reviews so many other places online, but having a place to put down quotes was important to me, so that is what this journal is, and I'll be continuing it in 2026. And the next journal, it's getting a little bit of a pile here, is a book or bouquet, B-U-K-E, A5 notebook. I will have the names to these. Sorry, I forgot to mention this one's notebook therapy. I think it's called Midsummer's Dream. All of them will be in the description and links will be provided. But this is a bit of a whim journal. It is something that I'm hopeful to use all of 2026, and we'll see if there's any pages left and if I enjoyed the process. I will share what this one's about when we get to it in the video. Like I said, it was a bit of a whim and I'm quite excited for it. And to wrap that all up, because there are a lot of journals here, which means a lot of information that needs to be shared between multiple journals, I have once again my pre-planned planner for my planner. This is a little powerhouse that I utilize to keep everything tidy in my journals. So that is the stack. We're going to pull these ones off and focus on my main journal first, and we'll start doing the flip through. So we'll just get it situated in the frame here. This is the nameplate page, and it looks a bit like a key. That was very unintentional. I was just doodling and then realized that all the butterflies and the way that I connected them ended up that way. And this gives a little bit of a snapshot of what you're looking forward to in this journal. Actually, the entire background is very coded towards what I've done in these journals. These are all sort of like the offcuts or pieces that I used to set it up. It's from the Park Lane Dreamland paper pack. All the supplies that I used for these journals will be in their videos, except for I'll do sort of share some of the main supplies that I used, but the playlist for that will be in the description below. Basically, check the description, it'll have so much information in it if you are interested. So flipping over to the cover page, like I said, I really wanted to lean into this paper pad. It is absolutely stunning. This paper here is the reason I brought it, and I had to use it for the cover page. And I've got a quote here, just a simple header here, and the year down the side here. Didn't want to go too decorative heavy. I really wanted this paper to shine, and I'm really happy with how this came together. And onto our first tracker. Normally I have the reading challenge or goal tracker here, and I normally just do a box per book. This year I am trying something new. I have decreased my reading count or goal for 2026 to 125. It's not too much of a decrease, but I do want to be focusing on other hobbies in 2026, and so because I had a smaller overall book count, I was able to make larger boxes and use a Dutch door. So you can see 125 books are here ready to be marked in, but this little tracking system is slightly different from anything I've tried before. My good friend Kristen, I think, is the one that penned it, or is at least is the one that we credit when we're looking at the book mosaic, and I will link her Instagram in the description below. And essentially you just take a box and divide it into 4, and you can track 4 different things in the one box pertaining to that book. So as you can see here, I have a key down the side, and I'm going to be tracking my star ratings, my genres, my format, and page length. These are the 4 main core trackers that I have in my reading data journal, and it's a little bit repetitive, I know, but I'm going to be utilizing that information in different ways. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how this comes together. As you can see, I don't have any of my color keys sorted yet. I am that person that does all the setup first and then figures out what my color palette is going to be. Obviously there's a lot of purple and pink in this setup, and I'm trying to decide if I want to do a whole bunch of purple, pink, and maybe like a grey or a brown accent, and making sure that all the colours are very different from each other in the shades. But there's that option, or there's also just like different colours. I am aware that in 2025 I had a red and a pink that were quite similar, and a lot of people found it really hard to tell the difference, so I want to avoid that, and that's why I'm kind of like, maybe I should do different colours, not lean into the pinks and purples, but I'm still indecisive about it, and I've still got time to think that through. Flipping now into my bookshelfie, this was a labour of love. I'm really happy with how it came together. It is something that I struggled with for the last couple of years, looking quite bland in my journal, and I wanted to put a bit more effort in this year. It does have a tip-in off to the side here with the key. I am tracking on here by month this year, not by star rating, and I'm really looking forward to it because if you can tell, all the numbers are scattered about. I asked on here and also on Instagram whether I should put it in rainbow order or scatter the colours about, or the months about, and it was very indecisive from you guys. One platform was saying rainbow, the other platform was saying scatter. Because I've never done the scattering technique before, I thought I'd try that out. So 1 is up here. I have absolutely no idea where 2 is. Actually, I've just found it. So this will be a little bit of fun to try and find the book on the shelves. There are empty spaces still, and I might decorate them as we go, or I might need them. I have gone up to 150 just in case, but yeah, we'll just see how it goes. I'm really looking forward to using this spread though. And flipping over into the next 2 pages here, normally I would have another bookshelf here, so this was a little bit different. I had no idea what to fill this space with, so I decided to put my Read the Rainbow here. Initially I just had boxes with colour of like with a pen, so I just gone around the edge and did that, but I just felt like it wasn't popping enough, so I've come in with some origami paper for the majority of the colours and stuck them down. And then obviously I've used a bit of sticker paper here to do the white, and I used a bit of the blackout paper from my bouquet A5 journal to do the black, because I didn't have any thin black paper that I could stick there otherwise. So I'm really looking forward to filling this in, and if you're new to this challenge, essentially you just try and match the book cover to the colour. And then on this side is one of my favourite pages to set up every year and use. This is the Days Read Pixel. I have 2 pixels. On this side here I track how many books I read per day, and again, once the colour key has been filled in, that will represent down here what colour will go up here. And then on this side it'll look a bit more splotchy because I only track when I finish a book on this side. And at the end of it you'll have a really colourful pixel with a lot of information. I really like this because, as you can tell from the lineup, I have a reading data journal, so this is really good food for thought about my trends, what I like to read. Most of the time I'll find that the 3rd of every month will be a different number, perhaps more 3+ books, just because that's the day we start book club, so I know why that's happening. But it's really fun to see how each month the trends either stay alive or change, and I really find this page quite helpful to have in my journal. Something new for 2026 is giving the A to Z challenge a 2-page spread. I really wanted to try and be a bit more visual this year, and I absolutely love this page. It is one of my favorites in this setup. We've got a space for every single letter in the alphabet. For this year I'll be doing authors. Every year I alternate between book titles and authors. I admittedly find authors a little bit easier than book titles because I'm quite stubborn and like to still count a and the as part of a title. But here is a space to just stick down covers when I've read them, and I've got a little spot down here where I can mark down the day that I finished this challenge, new to me authors, and the hardest letter to achieve, which generally always ends up being X and Z in this challenge. Maybe you as well. The next 2 pages I have are my bingo spreads. We've got a reading bingo and then a book tropes bingo, and I decided to do tip-ins for this as well. So behind each bingo board I have a space to put the book that I read for it, because I haven't tracked that in a couple of years and would really like to. I did try to put star stickers down the side of 5-star sticker so I could also track what I give the book, but it didn't fit, so I'm not sure what I'm going to do, if I'm just going to put the title in behind here or stick down the covers of the book. That is for me to decide next year when I start using it. But as you can see, it's just a typical bingo spread on each side. I did, however, not use the free portion for this middle part. I know that in a typical bingo board they put the word free, but I wanted to use every single space, and I have this year in 2025 as well, so it just made sense to carry it through. And I'm really looking forward to trying out the book tropes this way. I did it in a list form a couple of years ago, and whilst I enjoyed it, it wasn't my favourite page to visit each month, so I got behind in filling it in and had to try and guess which books that I should have used for it. So this year, for 2026, I am hopeful that this visual will be much more appealing to me. The next 2 pages I have are 2 different trackers. We've got the TBR takedown and then yearly readathons. On the left hand side here I have put 15 books that are on my physical TBR on my bookshelves that I want to get read in 2026. Some of these are books that I know that I'm going to be picking up very quickly. Some of them are books that have sat on my shelf for a very long time and would like to finally get through them. I'm really looking forward to the majority of these books. They're all books that I've heard good reviews about, so I think it'll be fun to take on this challenge. I normally try to do a Kindle takedown, but I'm very poorly, I do a very poor job at it every year because I just don't know how to track it enough. So I decided to work on physical books this year, and I have such a small few to go that this will be more enticing, I think. On this side here I have my yearly readathons, and I am participating in 4 year-long readathons. They are the Buzzword Reading Challenge. Once the prompts are up they'll go here. A Year of Goober, Easy Reading Challenge, and I put TBR-a-thon, but this is actually called Map of Stories for this particular part. And whilst I set this page up and I really like it, I actually am going to put a hint towards what that blackout journal is for, and tracking in there will be much more in depth than what you see here, but we'll get to that journal soon. The next 2 pages are very stock standard for me. They go together every single year. However, I have changed the monthly theme slightly. I've made the boxes a different size. I've also added on 4 little boxes off to the side here. One of the things that I noticed a lot this year was that I was constantly writing down the pen names on my journal as I was working in it. And so I wanted to have a space to put my main 4 color choices for the month and write down the numbers. I have a whole caddy over here with a whole bunch of pens in it, and some of them are labeled with labels that I've put on them because they didn't come numbered, and then some have a number on them, so it would be really handy to be able to mark down what that is in that little box there. And for the year of 2026, I am not doing a typical year-long theme, whilst they'll all fall under the umbrella of the same genre, because I'm going to be looking at romance novels in 2026. They won't all match, so I think it'll be really fun to see how this theme page is used over the new year, because for the last 2 years I've done year-long fantasy themes, and so they've all sort of like connected into each other, so it'll be interesting to see how this page evolves as I use it. I'm not sure how I'm going to use it yet, because I am not utilizing stock images in 2026. I'm going to be using other types of decoration and embarrassing probably myself again by trying to draw, and by draw I mean I'll be tracing because I cannot draw. So it'll be interesting to see how this comes together, and I hope it looks good because I'm a little bit nervous it won't. And then on this side here we've got the book club reads. I'm a co-host of a fantasy book club called To Whatever End. We've just celebrated our third year together as a book club, and I'm really looking forward to going into 2026 and having a space for this already marked in. Every year I just set up the title and sort of leave it, and I've had to struggle with how to set it up. So this year I took the time, now that I know how I want to use it, and made a space for every single book cover and also a spot to mark down what the book read was. And I'm really looking forward to seeing how this looks at the end of even halfway through 2026 and at the end of the year, because I think it's going to look really pretty. And the last setup in this journal is my books read tracker. This is new to me. I've never seen the point to it in the past. Felt like it was repetitive information because I track the books that I read monthly, but I have seen the benefit from it from a few friends who use it and swear by it, so I wanted to give it a go. I initially wanted to put it behind my bookshelfie, but at that point I didn't think I had enough pages to also fit everything in here. I use quite a lot of pages per month for various setups. I don't do reviews, but I use a lot of pages still, and I was worried that I wouldn't be able to fit it in. But at the end of this setup I went back through and used the 𝓤𝓲𝓰 journal calculator. I believe it's free, and I will have her resource library linked below, but I found it really helpful to go back in and check, and thankfully I had enough room to do a double spread. So I've got a little bit of a Dutch door happening here, and we've got 4 tables. There is enough room to go up to 150 like I said, but I had just a really good audiobook on while I set this page up and just focused on that, because I had to do every single star with my Moxie Dory star stamp star stencil by hand, because I don't have a stamp small enough, and my little stickers that are on the page here are much too large to fit in each line. So that was a lot of work, but I locked in and got it ready, and I'm really looking forward to using this. I'm not sure if I'm going to use the same star rating colour throughout that I've set up for the rest of the year, or if I'll just use one pen and just go the same colour all the way down. We'll see how that goes, but I've got a space to write down the title and author, when I finished the book, and its star rating. So looking forward to seeing if this tracker is something that I will enjoy, or if it's something that I don't need to go with in 2027. And then that is this journal flip through complete. I haven't yet set up January. I will be doing that very soon. I have my theme, I'm really looking forward to it, and I'll be working on it this week, and you'll see the setup video for that as well when it gets put up on the channel. So that is this first journal done. Let's move in to the next one, which is the reading data journal. So let me try and get this set up. I had it all set up on camera for that size, and now we've got to try and make sure we've got enough room. There we go. So this is, like I said earlier on, a square journal. It was my first time using it in 2025, and I'm really looking forward to using it in 2026. These first pages in the beginning here are global pages, that's what I've called them. There's only two setups at the start here. We have the series tracker, and then we have a owned TBR. So these are two setups that I wanted to carry through and hopefully not have to set up year after year. That was the whole point of this journal. I have gone and put down a lighter purple on here, but having looked at it and the colors that are on here, I actually want to quickly change the color. It's probably going to muddy it up a little bit now, but that's all right. So I'm going to go with this purple for 2026 instead. I think it will match in a bit better. So there we go. So we've got a space for every book that I read, the series that I want to continue on with. There are series that I've started this year in 2025 that I am not carrying over, so they haven't been written down, but these are the series that I have ongoing. Anything that's got a line in it, that was the wrong pen, but anything that's got a line through it is completed series. So I'm hopeful that I can work on completing some more series in 2026. And like I said, there's enough pages for this to just grow with. Hopefully we won't run out. By the end of 2027 that will be fine, but before then let's not run out. And then the same sort of system here for the owned TBR. I've got all the books that are on my physical bookshelves, and they've been marked down as whatever they've been read at. And then I do have a spot for unhauled, but I think if it's already coloured in that colour, I'll just go and put a U in it. But otherwise, really happy with how this came together. Admittedly, I've only just put this into my journal recently. I was supposed to do it at the start of 2025, and I just keep putting it off. So I took some time recently, and I'm so glad that I did, because it looks so good now that it's all done. And we've got, again, plenty of space to grow with. I don't try to keep many books on my bookshelves, only book trophies and yeah, books that I'm sure that the author I will really enjoy from. So as you can see, we've got 2025 set up here, but we don't need to be looking at that because that's not relevant to this video. We will be moving now into the 2026 portion of this journal, and as you can see, I've gone again with the same purples. I've used the same papers from the first front cover of my main journal, used the same washi tapes, used everything the same, even the same stamp set here for the 2026. I just wanted it to all match everything as I use the journals in 2026. Now, I did usually have another tracking system here, but I decided not to use it in 2026, so I have my goals page here instead. And I did make some mistakes on this page, and I've just gone through and fixed them. I initially put 25 for everything, and I meant 26. You can tell I set this up late at night, but with a bit of sticker paper, I have been able to fix that. So these are my goals for 2026. I have 10 of them. I try to have 10 every year. Unfortunately, the goals that I set up for myself in 2025 didn't really align with what I wanted to be looking at, so I've been much more intentional this time round with what I choose for my goals for the new year. And obviously I wanted to lean into 26 because it is the year of 2026. So I've got read 26 books with BIPOC characters or authors, 26 books with clear LGBTQ+ representation, complete my 2026 reading goal of 125 books, read at least one book from my Kindle backlog per month. That's the way I'm going to try and attack that, because I have a lot of books stored on there. Read 50,000 pages and a spot for each quarter to mark how many pages I read. And then read 26 physical books, keep my NetGalley percentage above 90%, finish 26 series, and read 6 books published before 2023, and finally 6 new authors to me. So I'm really looking forward to filling this in. So now we're moving into those 4 core stat tracking pages that I mentioned on the book mosaic page. So we've got ratings, genres, format and page length, and this year I've gone with a tally system. I normally do every single individual book, number them, and then fill them in, but I feel like that's a little bit repetitive. So for 2026 in here I wanted to do a tally system, and then I can see quite visually how many I read more of per setup. So for ratings, I would like to see, you know, is 4 stars my average to choose, and that will be very easy as every book will just get filled in as I go. And then the same for genres. I've left more space for certain genres and certain star ratings, because I know that I'm going to read more of those than perhaps a 2-star or a sci-fi or horror. So I wanted to make sure that I had enough space for that to also track, and I'm really looking forward to trialing this out. This is a new system for me. I saw it by 2 of my friends, Amber and Lauren, over on Instagram, that they do it like this, and I thought it was genius. So that is what I am trialing for 2026. Both Amber and Lauren are going to be linked in the description below. Amber is After the Pages and Lauren is Loz's reading journal. So the same sort of thing here for format. I've just gone and put a space for them all equally, and then on page length I've chosen the section from 301 to 600 to have the majority of the boxes, because that tends to be where I read, and I only learnt that out by having a page length book, a page length tracker in my 2025 journal. I had no idea that that's sort of where I leaned towards, and now I do. So I really see the value in these types of trackers. I did have a lot of space down here, so I've gone and put a little bit of stat keeping here for format. I would like to put length here as well, and I'm trying to think of how I could fit these 2 down here. I might have to use a tip-in for here, and also I am considering having like a floating bookmark with all the color keys for every tracker here, just so I don't have to worry about where I'm going to fit them. I could potentially fit length here and format here, but there's not a great deal of space on this one for a tracker, so we'll see how that goes. Sorry, not for a tracker, for a key. So that is those 4 core stat pages, and then we move in to the yearly stats omnibus page. This is an absolute hub. A lot of people really liked this page in 2025, and I did too, so I've brought it back pretty much the same as it was for 2025, except I changed out 2 categories over here. So I added in series and standalone to track instead of buddy read, and I think the other one was readathon. I just don't see that that information is relevant to this table, but so far we've got books read, page count, hours listened, average star rating, physical, ebook, audiobook, and mix. So that's the type I've read, format type. Then we've got audience level from adult to middle grade, and then we've got the star ratings from 5-star to DNF, then that series and standalone, and hauled and unhauled, which is something I want to be a bit more intentional about this year, because I have been tracking how much I haul every month in my little book haul section, but it would be really important to me to also track what I unhaul, because I seem to just ignore that in my tracking system, and then it doesn't add up. So that is something that I want to be a bit more mindful about, but otherwise this tracker is set and ready to go, and I cannot wait to use it. It was commented about so much that I knew that I had to bring it back this year, and it's been really beneficial to me as well. The next 2 pages house my DNFs and rereads and social stats. So this side here is just 2 tables, one for DNFs, so I can put down the title and author, the month that I DNF'd it in, and the percentage I DNF'd at. And then for rereads, I've just got the title and author and the month I reread it in. On this side here, I've got a new page to me. Normally I just have like a little box on my reading goal page or my goals page. That sounds a bit weird, but there were 2 different trackers. And I just had a little spot to write down my YouTube and Instagram follow account. This year I wanted to pay a bit more attention towards other information that I want to track. So for Instagram, I've got a place to track how many photo posts I make, how many graphic posts I make, and how many reels, for example. I also wanted to track my engagement and reach kind of thing. And then on the YouTube side, I really wanted to track how many videos I post each month, because I want to be quite intentional about how many videos that I go up and if I'm being consistent with my schedule or not. That's quite important to me. This is a page that I went into quite a lot of depth when I was setting up the reading data journal and talking about it. So if you want to check out more about that, you're more than welcome to go check that page out. That video out. It will be in the description below, and also the entire playlist for setting up for 2026 will be there as well. And then the last 2 pages set up for 2026 in here are my library savings and my ARCs page. So my ARCs page is the same as it has been for 2025. Absolutely nothing wrong with how that setup was, so I just completely mirrored it here or brought it over and did the same thing. We've got a spot here for the NetGalley percentage, and then we've also got a spot here for every month how many books I received, read, and where I sourced them from, such as NetGalley, Street Team, or author/other. And then on this side, I knew that I wanted to change my library savings a bit. I knew that just tracking how many books I read and the amount was not enough, so I've added in how many books I hire out each month, as well as a running total, because I have absolutely no idea how much I've saved at the library in 2025. Just know that it's over 100. Well, it's more than 100, that's for sure. But it's been a really good page to have, because it's my first time using it this year in 2025. But I noticed that it was lacking information that I wanted, so I changed that for 2026. And that is why I love this system, because I can trial something out and then improve upon it year by year. So that is the second journal done. I cannot believe we've got 2 done. Now we've got 3 to go. So the good news is that there's not too much more to talk about for some of these journals, because they are very brief and easy to talk about. So this one here is just the books I've loved, and I'm moving all my papers, whoopsie. This is what I called this journal. I didn't want to call it a reviews journal, because it's not I don't do reviews in here, but it is the same format. So I have to update this actually, but essentially I took the time to just sit down with the books that I really enjoyed in 2025 and start putting in their quotes, so I could look back at this at any time, sort of like a memory keeping and a space to show where I really enjoyed stuff. I admit that I started this halfway through the year, so not a lot has been added, and there's quite a few books to still add in, so I'm going to be catching up with that slowly now that the hustle season of getting all my journals ready for 2026 is almost over. I still have an everyday journal to set up and both January setups to do, which is still a little bit daunting, but once that's all done I can sit back down and just spend some time at night and just chill, write down some quotes, make the page how I want it to look. I made all the stickers on Canva for this, so I, really enjoy that process, and having the space to put down my quotes was really important to me. So I'm really looking forward to continuing this in 2026. That's as far as we get. Unfortunately, I'm still back in February and it's now December, so I do have a lot of books to add to this, and I'll just chip away at it and share the process on here and also on Instagram. So that is that journal. Like I said, it was going to be quick to get through that one. This one here is the one that I have been a little bit secretive about, and it's because the idea came to me on a whim. It is 2-part. I have a friend called DJ. She's absolutely wonderful, and she brought this idea towards me about doing this challenge, and she because she knows that I use a journal system. She wanted some advice on that. Well, of course, I didn't know that I would want to do this until I started talking about how you could potentially set it up, and then I thought, you know, this would actually be quite fun, so I needed space for that. And then also I wanted to track readathons a little bit more in depth. So that is how the Gamifying reading journal came to life. I absolutely love this journal. It's really nice to be back in a blackout journal. I used one for my main reading journal in 2025, so it's nice to be back again using the pens that I know and hate and love because they take forever to dry, but they're so eye-catching. I just absolutely love how this cover page came together. And then in here we've just got spaces for all the readathons that I'll be carrying on through. So the year-long ones will be at the start here, and then I'm going to have monthly pages and all that information. It's just a space where I can add in the game boards and like the really big heavy information that sometimes you can't fit into a monthly spread. So we've got the buzzword challenge here, we've got the easy reading challenge, and like I said, once I have the prompts, this will be added to. I've got the prompts here for the easy reading challenge. We've got a year of Goober, which is hosted by my good friends over at the Goobers Who Read book club, and I absolutely love this challenge every year. So that got a 2-page spread because there are 24 prompts. And then Map of Stories, which is the TBR-a-thon year-long readathon. I went and printed out the map on some craft paper, added in all the prompts down here, and then also added in a spot for where I can put the books that I use. And there's badges and everything with this readathon. It's quite in depth, so I wanted to have enough space for it. And then, like I mentioned, the 75 booked challenge, 75 days of reading. You've got a certain amount of rules that you've got to comply with, and then I've gone ahead and made a spot for every week. So as you can imagine, I needed a lot of space to do this challenge. So we've got enough space for that, and then an end of challenge stats page. And then we're ready to do monthly setups here for the readathons. So the TBR-a-thon also has a month-long readathon in January and September, I think. So January will be started here. So that is this journal. I'm really excited to use it, and I'm super glad that I decided to add it in as a whim. Let's see if it works. If it doesn't, well, it's not too bad of a deal. I can still use this journal for something else, but otherwise I've got another one in the lineup, and I just absolutely love this design so much. Okay, and the final journal that I said that I would mention a little bit more about is this little guy here. This is a pre-planned weekly student diary. It's from Kmart here in New Zealand. That is our department store, or one of them, and I really like this system. I have one already that looks a bit more beat up. Oh, it's got a little bit of crumbs on it. That's been utilised this year. This is what it kind of looks like on the inside. It is very messy, just has a whole bunch of stats in it. So at every single day I read, I will come in and jot down the acronym, where I am as a percentage, if I've finished it, if I've started it, how many pages it had, all that information. The hours listened is here, and then at the end of every month I will just go and put down my Instagram follow count, my YouTube follow count, and my NetGalley percentage, just so I have that information right there. This book sits literally right here as I'm working on my monthly wrap-ups. It is never far from me, so it is such a powerhouse, and it literally holds everything I want to put in it. Sometimes I'll put the title of the series if I don't know what it is meant to be, like if it's a new to me author or series. Other times I won't, because I'll know what it belongs to, but yeah, it's really handy. And as you can see, for 2026 it's completely blank so far. The only thing I've gone ahead and done is used my Cricut to make little tabs to go along the side here and get that all organized. So we'll be starting on the 29th of December here. That is the first week for me anyway, because I'm doing cyclic planning in 2026, and so we'll be starting here, and filling it in, and then this will be the guide that fills in my main journal and all the data keeping. It's just so handy. And if you are someone like me who's a bit of a perfectionist and likes to find ways to protect yourself from making too many mistakes in your journal, whilst mistakes do happen and there's easy ways to fix it, such as my goals page that had 25 instead of 26, this definitely limits how many mistakes, and I can be as messy as I want in here and then move into my journal and keep everything cohesive. So absolutely love this. It only costs like $3 or $4 and it is just really, really handy to have. So here are all the journals. I don't know how I'm going to fit them all on here. That's the only downside to having so many per year to work with. I started out 2025 with just these 3, but not this one obviously, and then added these 2 for this year's lineup. So do let me know if you are having more than one reading journal, why you're having a second one or third or maybe a fourth like me, and until we next meet, I hope you have fun reading and journaling. I'll be back really soon with my January reading journal setup, and I also will be sharing the opening of my everyday journal just for people who like seeing new journals, because that's always fun. Here it is here, but I will be sharing that opening just as a bonus video very soon as well. So I'll see you over at one of those videos soon. Bye everyone.